Hello, my name is Cameron Jones, and I'm a second-year student studying animal science in the College of Agricultural Sciences. In this installment of the Tell Me More Presidential Conversation Series, President Joyce McConnell sits down with Extension Regional Director CJ Mucklow in a discussion on our land-grant mission and the work of our CSU Extension team across Colorado. In 1914, Congress formalized the Extension system with community-based staff placed across Colorado. This became and is still a key part of our land-grant outreach efforts. I know Extension's program 4-H well. Growing up in Georgia, I spent summers in 4-H camps learning about livestock and judging. I moved to Craig, Colorado in 8th grade, and in Craig, I volunteered with 4-H dog training programs and helped to set up different livestock events. In high school, I also participated in FFA. Through the clubs, I worked hands-on with a lot of different animals. I met CSU alumni and I learned about their experiences and different career opportunities. It's why I am studying animal science and why I came to CSU. Please sit back and enjoy this installment of Tell Me More.
This is important because it's the application of knowledge. We make differences in people's lives. That's what's most fun, most exciting to me, is to make a difference for people, be it a small difference or a big one. So I start with a small one and say, why is my tree not well? To a big one, how can I preserve my family's heritage of their ranch? Through conservation easements is right for that. So my passion, what I'm passionate about, is having made a difference in the lives of people in the places I've worked, which are Elbert and Routt County, and now across the state.
Well, CJ, thank you so much for joining me today. This is really incredible. I know you've done amazing work to fulfill CSU's land grant mission, which of course we were established 150 years ago. So that's just been part of our mission. Tell me what that means to you.
Well, I always make it, whenever I talk about land grant missions, I always start with Abraham Lincoln, because he's the one who signed the legislation. Yeah. And I always say, I've always been told that, universities at that time were only for the elite. Started land grant universities for everybody. The seal at Colorado State University has 4 parts: education, research, service, and extension. So to me, the land grant university is the embodiment of everything. We're not just on campus doing research and teaching people to get a degree. We do that and we do it very well, but we also reach off campus. We extend the university to all across the state. The land grant university is bigger than just teaching and research. It's the extension of the university to everybody, which also fulfills Abraham Lincoln's mission to bring a higher education to the masses. So
we do have absolutely have a deeper mission, and it's a mission that we're extraordinarily proud of. To have presence in all 64 counties in Colorado has deep meaning to me, because we're taking what it is we know on campus and taking it out to people who can actually use it and make a difference in their lives and their communities. I think that's so important.
I do too. I think that's what we do. That's the extension of the university. That's it. So let me just ask you then, I know your path to CSU and higher education is way different than mine. I'm a native Colorado and I grew up in Fort Collins, but you also spent much of your career doing engaged work at the land grant university. So what does the commitment of a land grant university mean to you?
Well, it's such a great question, and I love reflecting on it, because I was at West Virginia University for 25 years, and that's a major land grant university in the East. And when I started thinking about becoming a president, it was pretty clear to me that I did not want to be the president of anything other than a land grant university. That what we did on campus and taking that work that we do on campus and taking it out and making a difference, that's what really got me up every morning. That was where my passion was. And at West Virginia University, I became the dean of our College of Law, and I was really involved with building our clinical programs, which were our experiential programs for law students to learn how to practice law. And I realized that really that's part of the land grant mission. We were helping people all over the state, and particularly with some of the issues like farmland protection. So I just can't imagine being at a university where we weren't doing that and where that wasn't part of our fiber.
I actually can't either. When I first started this job, I don't think I appreciated the depth of the mission. I was happy just to have a job when I was 24 years old. But over time, I've really come to appreciate that we are the depth of that, and to put that, put it to use. We're in the business of applying knowledge.
Yep.
That's my job for this university. I got it, that research and teaching are fundamental to this university, but the application of that knowledge is what I and all the people that work for Extension, and frankly, Ag Experiment Station and the Forest Service also do.
One of the things that's been extraordinary for me at CSU is how embedded that land grant mission is into everything we do. So I had an opportunity to meet with Senator Donovan and some of our researchers from the College of Ag. And it was extraordinary, the work they were doing. But their passion, the reason they did their work, even though they were researchers on campus, was to be able to get it out into the state and get it out into solving problems. And I was really so impressed with those researchers, and that there was no concept for them that they were just scientists and they were going to stay behind the bench. This was their scientists to make a difference.
I couldn't agree more. The most fun things I've done related to land conservation, working with Professor, some retired, and Dr. Andy Seidel in Ag and Resource Economics. We measured what people valued of open space and why land is important. But that puts research to use. So it justifies why public dollars spent. So that's why it's there. I think about the first person you interviewed in this series, and her work with developing vaccines. But the thing that struck with me was, I'm not sure we're going to be first, but boy, the methodology we use has implications down the road. She's already thinking about how we're going to put it to use, how that research of new vaccine development techniques could be applied. So to me, that's the embodiment of a land-grant university. Put it to work. So my question to you is, this year's required significant changes on campus and across our communities to overcome the challenge of the pandemic. So what are some of those changes you're seeing now on campus and at CSU?
Yeah, it's such a great question. The pandemic, of course, has dominated our lives, right, for a year now. And we have made a lot of changes on campus. One of the things that was really extraordinary about CSU, and I believe it's because we're a land-grant university, is in the midst of the crisis in March, where we suddenly had to turn on a dime and do everything remotely in 10 days, we didn't have enough masks for our essential workers. So who made our masks? 4-H. It was just great. We had people all over campus in 4-H masks, and that was really meaningful to me. But we were able to really do well during the pandemic. We had one of the highest numbers of face-to-face classes on campus in the country. The Association of Public Land-Grant Universities recognized us for all of the work that we were able to do bringing students to campus. One of the things we've learned is that even though the virtual environment is wonderful in so many ways, because we can reach so many more people in locations that we couldn't before, students really like being on campus. And so we've learned a lot about where you can do education virtually and make a difference, where you can have a hybrid class that's part virtual and part live in the lab, and when you need students on campus live with a faculty member, and that makes all the difference. And so it's just been really, I feel really honored that we were able to do as well as we did in the pandemic, because we're a land-grant university, and our experts stepped forward and our 4-H kids stepped forward, and we pulled a team together, and that hard work ethic and collaboration. And I just feel like it's because it's so deep in who we are that we were able to do as well as we did in the pandemic.
I think we did well too. It's a privilege and an honor to work for this institution because we did so well. Yeah. And before that too, but it really was to show what we could accomplish with, we rose up to the challenge. That's how I look at it. We thought we did that in Extension as well.
Well, I think we all learned a lot about, okay, there was pre-pandemic, now there's post-pandemic. What's going to change? And I think what we know now is we have a lot more tools in our toolbox to reach people than we did before. But that there are times when just showing up in person is the most important thing.
I think the worst thing we could do as an extension office is just become a web page and the 4-H office.
Yeah.
I love 4-H. I think it's great things, but we are more. We're the extension office, and we bring the whole university. And I think if we lost that, we will have lost part of our mission. So we want to keep that. It's having those offices and those people all across the state, urban and rural, that make those connections to bring this university to fulfill its mission.
Yeah.
I think we have to keep it too. I agree.
Right.
We have to keep it.
The one thing I was just thinking about is thinking about a farmer with a particular problem, let's say a soil problem, and we have a researcher on campus. Pre-pandemic, that researcher would only think about being able to drive there, right? And that might postpone how long it takes to get them there. Now they can jump right on a Zoom, a Teams, talk to your farmer, person to person, get it solved. It's really extraordinary.
Yeah, or we whip out the little phone, we take a picture of the insect that's bothering you. I wonder what that is. What's the best way to do it? I shoot it to CSU and instantly I get an answer. So it's not a day. Yeah. I can instantly do that. So technology is incredible, the application of it to improve people's lives, particularly in issues that are tough and challenging, like why am my cow's not well, or what insect is affecting me, or what disease might be out there. So it's incredible how we've already started using this stuff. On this phone here is like plant ID. So you can already do that. So, and there's another one that's, instead of having a whole book on diseases of landscape trees of Colorado, well, it's on my phone and I can compare it. So the technology has made things really much better. We have lots of things we're going to do differently than we did even 10 years ago with technology.
Well, I'm excited about what the future holds.
I am too. I think we're up for the challenge. So is there anything else that you think Extension can do in our role to meet these changing needs?
I do. I think that the openness of Extension to being able to work with our experts on campus and being able to use them through technology, I think is going to be really, really important. I also think we talked a little bit earlier about the experiences of our students. And I think the more we can connect our students with Extension, the better, because our students are passionate about helping people, about making a difference in the world. And the more we can connect them with Extension, the happier they're going to be.
I think that bringing and encouraging more connections is something we haven't traditionally done, but I think it's something we can do and we get benefit from that. We can help students be better in their jobs and their career and help them get a real world experience right here as part of their education. So I look forward to that too.
It's exciting. And one other piece that we haven't talked about is the impact that has on our students, because we infuse it so much into their education that we have these wonderful CSU students, whether they're undergrads or grads, but they feel that need to have impact as well. And so seeing our students motivated to be carrying that work out, that makes me really happy.
I'm actually glad you brought that up, because we just started this program from another fine ag economics professor, Dr. Jablonski. We started an internship program.
Yep.
With Extension, and that has been one of the best things we've done. We've often been isolated in Extension or other branches, not bringing students out to work with us. And now we've started this internship program. Now we're swamped with the number of interns. But we have very interesting things where we had an intern who studied wild horses and the implication of that in Western Colorado and the Southwest Colorado. We talk about local food systems. So bringing those students out to and having them a place to go with local Extension offices was a really great thing. So I think we have work to do, but it's really a great step for us to bring students out and for us to help students. And part of our mission as Extension agents and Extension offices to help students be successful in their careers.
I think the experiential learning for students is so important. And when students leave the university, if they've had a positive experience with someone like you, that can transform their trajectory in their career. It's so powerful.
I think internships are so powerful too. I just had an article in Source last week. I actually talked about it. So my internship experiences were in South Dakota and Colorado, a ranch I still lease to this day. And I also worked in South Dakota, who happens to be on that ranch, was a family ranch of Dr. Barry Dunn, who's the president of South Dakota State University. Wow. I worked for him. So I think internships is your first step in your professional relationships. and every student should do one. And I'm so tickled to have that internship program so we can bring our expertise to help students be successful and their first step in the door.
Well, I want to thank you for being so generous to our students, because I know that it takes time to mentor our students, but it's so worth it.
It was a challenge this year with the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
You know, how do you do that? And we had one locally in Routt County looking at ecosystems and how to make that work, but we still did pull it off. So,
well, one of the great things about, and you had mentioned the mountain campus earlier in our conversation before we got started, one of the great things about some of our research areas like mountain campus or ag experiment stations is during a pandemic, the safest place to be is outside alone. And a lot of research gets done in that kind of environment. So it's one thing that our students can continue to do in the midst of the pandemic.
once we were able to get students out there, I think they can work outside. It was fun to do it, and they liked it. So
That's great.
Successful.
What do you think Extension brings to our communities? You've mentioned some of it, but I'd really like to drill down into how does having an Extension agent, an Extension program in a small rural community, what purpose does it serve?
If you were the Extension office, you were a source of knowledge. So what an Extension office today is, you are still a source of knowledge, but you're also the conduit. So you can bring that knowledge, and it's got to be specific. You know, we can all get on our phone and search Google and get an answer, but do you get the right answer? So having the local person in an office allows you to really drill down and give you a better answer to whatever question it is, be it land conservation, or be it water preservation, or be it food safety. We have the ability to do that. The other thing that the university gets when you have a really, particularly in rural places, but urban too, the best extension offices in this state are ones where they have built a relationship. It's long-term relationship with the community, so they're looked as a community leader. So you have, as a land-grant university, you have a seat at the table to be the community leader, and you're expected to fulfill that role. And you're expected to know, well, who do I call? And when the university calls, we want to do this, you have the ability to know who to talk to in my community, call this person for that reason. So we have this role of not only being the center of knowledge, being able to bring the university to you, we also have this job of, hey, I can connect you. You've got the right connection. So that's the most successful places, extension offices do both, knowledge and connection, and that's what we do. And that's what people recognize us for in the best places.
I agree with you 100%. And one of the things that really struck me when I have had the opportunity to go around Colorado is how much the extension agents really are leaders in their communities. And it feels like, as a president, when I'm with one of them, feels like they work 24/7 because there are no boundaries really between the work that they do and their membership and their relationships in the community. And the place where I see it often played out is in 4-H.
Oh, absolutely in 4-H, because you are the epicenter of that's our premier program, or that's what we get recognized for. So you don't go anywhere, people recognize you. And building the value of kids. So, you know, it's easy. Teach adults is a difficult thing, and there's whole studies about it. But teaching kids is, in theory, simpler. What you teach a kid today can learn tomorrow. So I think I'm very proud of the 4-H program here. My kids are both 10-year members of 4-H. My kids are both graduates of here. One's got a Master's of Fine Arts, and one's a chemical engineer. But that 4-H was the foundation that got them started. And that's what we bring for rural communities is leadership of the 4-H program. So it's a great thing. I can't say enough positive things, and that this university is a small thing we do, but running a youth program is a colossal impact on kids' lives.
It is. It's huge. It's really important in terms of the relationships they build and the social skills. But, you know, I had a conversation with someone who really wanted to push STEM education out into the communities through Extension. And I said, well, they're already doing STEM education in 4-H all the time.
And STEM is lots of stuff. So it can be as simple as you talk about 4-H, well, it's just cooking, or it's just cows. Well, that's fine to say that. But in reality, cooking is chemistry, and livestock is animal husbandry. And there's a lot of STEM in those two fields. If we go here and talk to the animal scientists on campus here, they're going to be very scientific about the way we manage cattle and livestock. So
Absolutely.
I think STEM is essential that we do. So what do you see some of the changes? I mean, what could, me as the extension agent, how can you tell me what we could do to partner some of the changes, and what changes do you see, state of Colorado, that we need to do as extension?
That's such a great question. I think there's so much. So one thing that I always am concerned about with the land-grant university is, because we have been around for 150 years and we've been serving the state, a lot of times all of the work that we do in an area doesn't get attributed back to CSU. There's a real gap between, oh yeah, that's 4-H, oh yeah, that's extension, but not, that's Colorado State University. And I would really like some help from people like you, really getting our message out all through Colorado, that CSU is the place for Coloradans.
I think we're on the same page on that. I think we could do a better job in extension. We don't always take the credit for the good work we do. So I will help you any way I can to get that message out there. We're CSU and we're here to help.
Yeah.
We have been here to help. We didn't always take the credit for it.
That's
and
true.
I think we need to do that, take the credit for the good work that we do.
I think that's true of CSU generally, but it's also true of land grants. We like to hide our light under a basket. And what I keep telling everyone is, let's lift that bushel basket up. Let's let that light glow, because we want Coloradoans to know what Colorado State University does for the state, but we also want them to know this is the place for their children. This is the place for students to have access to higher education, just like President Lincoln wanted, right? We're still big on that access mission. So I want to thank you for this amazing time to get to spend with you. You know, we found out that we had a lot in common, even though I'm from the East and you're from the West, but we both did a lot of work on land conservation. And I really appreciate the work you've done, not just for CSU, but for Colorado. And it's just phenomenal for me to have this opportunity as a president to sit down with you today and have this conversation.
Well, I'm the one who's humbled. I've never got to talk to a university president, so I am very honored to be here today and to be your guest. And we're here, whatever I can do to help you further the mission of Colorado State University, I would like to do that. So I'm the one who's humbled and honored to be one of your chosen few that got the privilege of being here. So thank you very much.
Great. I know we're going to be great partners.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that, actually.
Good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you again for joining us for this session of the Tell Me More Presidential Conversation Series. For future session dates with previous interviews and to read the bios about our guests, visit the President's website at president.colostate.edu. Take care, and we'll see you next time.